Why does it cost more to replace a roof on an old house? We almost never have to go back to a homeowner at the end of a job and ask for more money. Want to know why? Because we understand what most roofers miss when they put together a roof estimate. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why age and condition determine the true cost of a roof replacement and why an accurate estimate upfront protects you from those nightmare change orders that other homeowners experience. Here's what most people don't realize. When you get a roof estimate that seems too good to be true compared to your neighbor's quote, it probably is. The difference? Your neighbor has a 15-year-old Colonial, you have an 80-year-old Colonial, and that changes everything. I've been replacing roofs for decades on homes built all the way back to the 1700s. After you've torn off hundreds of old roofs, you start to see patterns. You learn what's hiding under those shingles before you ever pull them up. And that knowledge is what separates an accurate estimate from a lowball bid that turns into a mid-project disaster. The biggest fear I hear from homeowners with older homes isn't just the cost, it's the surprise, getting hit with thousands more mid-project because the contractor didn't know what they'd find. That doesn't happen with us, and I'm going to show you exactly why. Why a 20-year-old roof is the easiest job we do. Let me break down what original actually means in roofing terms. The roof itself is still original, just one layer of shingles, installed with modern techniques and materials that are the same or at least similar to current building codes. The siding is original, which means less problems, no multiple patch jobs from different decades, no mysteries hiding underneath. The gutters and trim are original too, properly installed with consistent fastening points that help to make a roof replacement go smooth. Most importantly, the structure is still level. No settling, no shifts, no compensating for decades of movement that have pushed walls and roof lines out of alignment. Think of it like working on a car from 2020 versus a car from 1985. The 2020 car still has all its original parts. Everything fits together the way the manufacturer intended, and we know exactly what we're working with. No improvised repairs, no corroded bolts, no oil leaks. We know exactly how many bundles of shingles we need because the roof deck is flat and even. We know our crew can work at a standard efficiency because there won't be custom cuts on every course. We know the flashing will be straightforward because everything lines up the way it should on that 20-year-old home. No hidden structural repairs, no custom fabrication, no workarounds that eat up labor hours and require extra material. That 20-year-old roof? It's the job that we use to train new crew members on because it's as close to textbook as roofing gets. But the moment we step onto a roof that's 50, 75, or 100 years old, everything changes. What 100 years of settling does to your roof. When we have an older house, like a 100-year-old home that was constructed in a very different time, that house may not be level. It may have settled over time, and this settling can affect the entire structure, including the roof. Let me explain what settling actually means for a roof replacement. When a house settles, walls shift, even if it's just an inch or two over a few decades. That shift travels all the way up to the roof line, and when the roof line shifts, suddenly the flashing, those metal pieces that seal the edges and chimneys, no longer sit flush the way they are supposed to. Ridge lines bow or sag. That means shingles won't lay flat without custom alterations. We can't just roll out a course and nail it down. The installation process becomes much more complicated. Eaves drop unevenly. Water drainage becomes unpredictable because the original slope calculations don't apply anymore. We have to compensate with strategic underlayment and flashing placement to redirect water flow. Valleys become steeper or shallower than the original design intended. This matters because pre-bent valley flashing is engineered for specific angles. When those angles change, we're fabricating custom solutions on site. Last month, we replaced a roof on a 1910 Craftsman in Montclair. Beautiful home. The ridgeline had settled nearly 5 inches on one side over the last century. That meant that we had to compensate for that settled line throughout the entire roof. A roof that size and pitch would normally take 2 days to install on a modern house. That one took 4 days. Here's what this means for cost. More labor hours per square foot because nothing is standard. Custom flashing fabrication. We're not pulling pre-made pieces from a box. We're bending and forming metal on site to match your specific settled structure. Additional materials for shimming and leveling to create stable surfaces where the building has shifted, and this work requires specialized crew experience. I can't send apprentices to handle a settled Victorian. This is a journeyman level of problem solving, and that's just the structure underneath. We haven't even talked about what's on top of the roof deck. Why multiple roof layers multiply your cost? There may have been multiple repairs done to that roof over the years that we now have to deal with and work around. Let me show you what multiple repairs actually looks like when we start tearing off an old roof. Previous roofers cut corners. Maybe they didn't want to pull off the old layer, so they just roofed over it. Now, we've got improper flashing that was installed over the old flashing, creating a triple layer situation in some spots. We have to remove all of it and start fresh. Old tar patches over problem areas? A roofer in 1983 saw a leak, slapped some tar on it, and called it done. That tar has been hiding wood rot for 40 years. We discover it during the tear-off, and now we need to fix it the right way. Multiple shingle layers create an uneven deck surface. The first layer was 3-tab shingles from the 1970s. The second layer was architectural shingles from the 90s. The third layer is whatever's on there now. Each layer has a different thickness and different nail pattern. Pulling them off reveals a deck that needs significant prep work before we can put anything new down. And then there are the makeshift solutions. Tin patches, silicone caulk spread out across entire sections, rubber-modified bitumen is thrown down over valleys. Every single one of these layers has to be properly removed, not just covered up, or your new roof will not protect your home properly. The tear-off can take 2 to 3 times longer. More dumpster loads because we're hauling away multiple roofs worth of material. More labor hours and extensive deck repairs because wood rot that started under the first layer has spread over decades. Here's the thing. We can't know exactly what's under there until we pull it off. But after decades of tearing off old roofs, we know what we're likely to find under a 1920s roof versus a 1980s roof. That's why our estimates are accurate. We're not guessing. We're drawing on thousands of past experiences. This is where experience matters. You want a contractor that's dealt with what's under your old roof so many times that they're never surprised anymore. That's us. We've seen the tar patches, the hidden rot, the 5-layer nightmares. We budget for them up front, so you're not getting a phone call mid-project asking for more money. When rotted siding costs you on the roof, if the house has old wood or cedar siding that is rotting away, that wood may affect the roof replacement process. Most people don't realize these systems are connected. Let me explain the relationship. Rotted siding doesn't stop at the siding. If your cedar shake siding is soft and cracking, there could be rain pouring into the home. Your siding acts as a counter-flashing to your step flashing. If your siding is compromised, then there is nothing preventing water from getting behind your step flashing. When this happens, you will often see very large leaks that seemingly come from nowhere during wind-driven rains. Your new roof will leak not because of the shingles, but because the structure it's attached to is failing. It takes an experienced roofer to identify this problem and address it during the roof replacement process. Here's the other issue. The water that caused your siding to rot probably didn't stop there. It likely leaked into the roof deck edges. This is hidden damage. We won't see it from the ground. We'll only find it when we start pulling up the courses of shingles along the wall above. And here's what we can't do. We cannot install a new roof over the compromised wood. It's of course a code violation, but more importantly, it's a guaranteed future leak. The roof will fail at those edges within a few years, and you'll have paid for a roof replacement that didn't actually solve the problem. Think of your house like a picture frame. The roof is the glass, the siding is the frame. If the frame is rotting, we can't just put new glass in and call it done. We have to repair the frame first, or the glass will never sit right. So what does this mean for cost? Siding repairs, or even replacement. That's materials plus skilled carpentry labor. This isn't just slapping a piece of wood. It's decorative work that has to be done right. Deck edge repair or replacement where water intrusion has softened the plywood. Extended labor time for proper prep because we're essentially doing carpentry work before we even get to the roofing portion. And custom flashing fabrication to match the repaired areas, since new wood creates different dimensions than the settled original structure. This is why we do a full exterior inspection before we write up your estimate. We're walking around your entire house, looking at the siding, checking the fascia boards, and examining the soffits. We're not trying to upsell you. We're making sure the estimate we give you is the final number you pay, because the alternative is missing this during the estimate and discovering it mid-job. That's when you get the uncomfortable phone call. We found rot. We need to repair it. It's going to cost more. We don't want to make that call. And you definitely don't want to receive it. Why experience is the only way to price old homes accurately. The reason why those estimates are so accurate is that we have spent many, many years understanding what the true cost of replacing a roof is. Let me break down how we actually price a roof, because it's more than just measuring square footage and multiplying a number. True cost equals labor plus materials plus hidden variables. That last part, hidden variables, is where inexperienced roofers get it wrong. The hidden variables are settling, multiple shoddy repairs, wood rot, and structural issues. Those variables are only predictable with experience. You can't learn this from a manual. You learn it by tearing off thousands of old roofs and seeing the same patterns repeat. You learn it by discovering rot in the same spots in 1920 homes over and over. You learn it by realizing that a settled ridgeline on a Victorian adds X number of labor hours because your crew can't work at normal speed. Then we add in a little bit of fair profit, and that's how we come up with our prices. Fair profit, not price gouging, not hiding margin in inflated line items, just honest pricing for honest work. Here's the contrast. Most roofers, especially the younger, less experienced ones, quote based purely on square footage. They measure your roof, calculate the shingles needed, add standard labor hours, and hand you a number. They don't account for age-related complexity because they haven't seen enough old houses to know what exists. The result? They give you a lowball bid. You get excited because it's thousands less than the other quotes. You sign. They start the job. They pull up the first section of shingles and find 3 layers instead of 1. They discover rotted decking. They realize the roof line isn't level, and now the speed of the installation comes to a crawl. Suddenly, you're getting that mid-project phone call.
We found some issues. It's going to cost more than we quoted.
And now you're stuck. The roof is half torn off, and you can't exactly switch contractors at this point. When we look at a 100-year-old house, we're not just measuring square footage. We're reading the building's history. We're anticipating what we'll find when we peel back those layers. We're accounting for settling that we can see in the roofline, and rot we can predict based on the siding condition. You deserve to know the real number up front, not a teaser price that turns into a nightmare, not a lowball bid designed to get you to sign, with the real cost revealed once you're committed. Our job is to give you peace of mind before we ever pick up a hammer. You should be able to plan your budget, know what you're spending, and trust that number we gave you is the number you'll pay. And that level of accuracy, it only comes from doing this work over and over on homes just like yours. If you're in New Jersey and you've been putting off your roof replacement because you're worried about surprise costs or contractors who don't understand old homes, let's talk. We've been doing this for decades, and we specialize in giving homeowners like you accurate, honest estimates that actually hold up when the work is done. The link is in the description, or just comment estimate below and I'll reach out personally. So, to recap, a roof on a 100-year-old house costs more than a roof on a 20-year-old house because of settling that shifts the entire structure. Multiple repair layers hiding decades of problems, wood rot spreading from siding into the roof system, and structural complexity that only experience can predict. An accurate estimate isn't just a number on a piece of paper. It's a promise that you won't be surprised later. It's the difference between peace of mind and mid-project panic. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if my old house has hidden damage before I even call a roofer? That's exactly what I'm covering in my next video. Now that you understand why old houses cost more to roof, you need to know how to spot the warning signs before you call a contractor. In my next video, 3 critical warning signs that indicate your New Jersey home might need a roof replacement and what it means for your estimate. I'll show you exactly what to look for so you can have an informed conversation when you're ready to move forward.